Hello friends, thanks for joining me. This is Beatrice with Planning and Memory Keeping, and today we are going to work on my Hemlock and Oak 2025 weekly planner, which is going to service me as my project life planner or project life project. I will be using these Ali Edwards stamps as well as a Distress Oxide and Picket Raspberry, and I will be adding flowers from this Color of a Plan watercolor boxes and florals. So with that said, what I was thinking was to stamp out 2025 and then add some flowers around it. Doesn't need a lot because it doesn't need a lot. So I was thinking that would work. I've already figured out the center of my page, and I like the Distress Oxide Pick Raspberry because it's pretty close to the cover color. It's not as dark, so it works pretty well. So we're going to start with the 0, and we're going to stamp it right there. And I'm hoping with the Distress Oxide it will the color will kind of even out. So let me just, probably could have used a smaller block, which I think I'm going to do because it's easier and you don't get ink everywhere. So I'm going to use this tiny one. It's a little lighter, but it's in the same color family, so that works perfectly. Just making sure that my 5 is well inked. And boom. So that's right in the center of the page. Works for me. Perfect. And what we're going to do now is add a little floral. I was thinking of doing something like this, but I don't think I have 2 of that flower. I can do that one, maybe the other one on top, or maybe this one on the bottom, and that one on top, or maybe that one, that corner one. But that's really simple, and I don't think I'm gonna, I want it a little more because it's such a big page. So let's go ahead and try it out. And I was thinking of like it being pretty centered. I like that. And then doing the same with this one. So I hope you're enjoying Planmas. Thank you for joining me. If this is your first time here, I hope you will consider subscribing. And if you're returning, thanks for coming back. All right, and I think I am happy with how that looks. I know it kind of looks weird because it's a little bigger, but I'm good with that. And I really didn't want a lot, so that's where it's going to stay. And then the next thing I'm going to do is add my tab for January, because I forgot to do it the other day when I was setting up the weeks. And I just wanted to show you that once the ink dried, there is a little bit of, almost like it wants to bleed through. There is a little bleed through in a couple spots. So now I know that I won't be using in the future, black ink. It's okay. It's only 5 weeks. I will live. And I can always cover it up. And if necessary, I can always use some whiteout. So the great thing about the Hemlock and Oak is that it not only do you get the guide for the ruler, which is awesome. It is pretty much perfect. Like, you can't mess it up. But of course I am. All right, so January is going to go right there. Ah. I hope that's straight. Let's see. Yes. All right, and then we're going to go over to February. It's really hard to do these on camera because it's hard to see what you're doing from a distance. So there's February, and I'm going to speed you up so that you are not bored to death watching this. All right, so all of my tabs are in. So I just want to make sure that they're all at this pretty much same height, so that when I fold them, they're pretty much even. Because I don't think that's currently the case right now. That one is, February is not, because some of the edges of the paper, I'm sorry if you cannot see this, I'm trying my best to keep you on screen. Some of the edges of the paper, like the line of the paper, is that going to be, oh, you can't even see them on, so we have to go out further. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to look and see which month looks best. And the best month here looks like it's June. So we're going to use June as the guide, and we're going to go from June to May, and we're going to use the edge as pretty much the guide. I'm sorry, I just can't see. April looks good. March needs to come out a tiny bit. And these are, they're not repositionable. It doesn't seem like they are, but they're coming up fairly easy. So I'm kind of glad that I didn't fold them, because I was going to do each individual one and fold them. I'm very glad that I actually followed directions. All right, so that looks good the first half. So let's fold these. I think January needs to go in a tiny bit because it's hanging over the page. Okay, so what you do is, once you're good, you fold it over and you stick it to the back. Boom, done. Next month. And the only reason why I'm doing the first 6 months before I do, instead of doing all of them at once, it's just because they're perfect and we're not moving them anymore. I'm just gonna straighten this one out a tiny bit. And then June. All right, so if you look, they're pretty even. So now we're going to do July through August, and July just needs to move out a tiny bit. So let's see if June and July are now pretty even. I think it needs to go in just a tiny bit. What happened was I was using the actual edge of the calendar and they're not all the same. So, which is kind of weird because however you slice it, there's only 7 days of the week. So yeah. So that did not go as planned. Now August looks good, and we're going to fold that one over. Yep. And now September needs to go up a tiny bit. Let's see if that's, oh, too far over. See, that looks good. We'll fold that one over. Now we're going to go with October, and October needs to come out a tiny bit. I think that'll be good. Let's see. Yes, it looks good. And that looks great. And then November. Looks good. And then December, oh, November, I did not fold that over on itself very well. Hopefully it will come up. That was not a good fold. There we go. It's like one side did not fold right. And there we go. It just needed a little tiny push. November. And I think December looks good. Let me just, December needs a tiny bit just to come out, a tiny bit. Maybe a tiny bit more. I think that looks pretty good. And we can go ahead and fold it over. All right, so all of my labels are in, and it's pretty straight. I also want to show you that I pulled out all the inside guts to this, like all the goal setting, planning stuff. I just left these two pages because they're literally glued together. And then this page, which has become my opening page. And I'm just looking for my squeegee thingy. Where are you, squeegee thingy? Of course, no idea. So what we're going to do is use a ruler to take out any air bubbles. So what I did was I took out the pages, I carefully cut them, and then because I didn't want the strings to get caught on anything or, you know, have any chance of them breaking, I used some white washi tape and added it onto the side here. And this washi tape is also from Hemlock and Oak. And I am pretty happy with how this turned out. I mean, I could always add like maybe something else, but I think it looks good just the way it is. It doesn't need a lot of detail. I think this is going to be my 2025, like at the end of the year, because I don't know if there's any space back here. Let's see. Oh, there is a few pages. Okay. All right, so you know what? I don't know what I'm going to use these for. I had a pick collage, but I don't know. I'm just going to leave them blank for now. And if I decide to, maybe this will be my, well, because I think there's a January review. All right, so January review is going to be, and I also took one page out because if you look between February and March, there's the February review, and then there's the March overview. So I took this page out, and then I did the same thing. I added my white washi tape to cover the strings, because this is a, I guess, sewn book, and I did not want those pages. You know, I'm trying to save as much space for bulk, and I think that will help because there's a nice big gap here in the front. So I think that eventually when it's bulky, it will help. And that, my friends, is my 2025 weekly. I have these extra stickers, and I don't know what I'm going to use them for. So I'm just going to set them aside. And if I decide to use them, I mean, like values, goals, habits, year, important notes, review, and overview, I don't think I'll be using any of those. So that is going to be it for this video. Thanks for watching, and have a great day.